Good evening. On behalf of the Abingdon Town Council, we welcome everyone to the December 2013 meeting. There's a couple of things that I would like to point out to everyone who's assembled. First of all, a little bit of housekeeping. I would ask if you have a cell phone to please either turn it off or put it on the stun mode, I think is a proper terminology. I've actually remembered to do mine, and I have been one of the worst violators of that over the years. Secondly, our council each month is provided with a substantial amount of material to help prepare us for the issues that will come before our consideration. On the little table on the left side of the room, there is a copy of those documents. If any of you might wish to review that material, you're more than welcome to, and don't take it home with you. We've only got the one copy there, but it is there for your review and consideration. That being said, I will ask our clerk, Ms. Cecile Rosenbaum, if she will call the roll, please.
Mr. Howard?
Here.
Mr. Humphreys?
Here.
Mrs. During?
Here.
Mrs. Lowe?
Here.
Mayor Morgan?
Here.
And let the record reflect that all 5 council members are present.
Thank you very much. And I would call on Ms. Jane During, our newest council member, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening. All rise, please.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and it sounds like some of our younger folks here tonight remember the words of the pledge very nicely, and we are pleased to have with us this evening the first, I guess it is the first Lego League Cyborg 17. I'm not sure that I'm getting it all correct or not, but here in Abingdon. And I know Dr. Karen Elmore is with us this evening. Are you going to be the spokesperson to introduce the group to us?
Well, I can't be. So.
If you would, please.
Well, this is a group of 7 kids from Abingdon Elementary School, and they're in the 4th and 5th grade. And they have participated in an international program called First Lego League, where they have come up with an original solution to a problem. They chose a problem related to tornadoes, and they have come up with a skit to talk about it. They have also built and programmed a robot to perform certain tasks, and they have done all this while learning how to work as a team. So they won 2nd place in their division at the tournament at the Higher Ed Center a couple weeks ago. And they will be advancing to the championship tournament in Harrisonburg at James Madison University this coming weekend.
Well, very good. And all these children are from which, Abingdon Elementary?
Abingdon Elementary School, and we're pleased to have our principal, Mrs. Megan Denabrica, here with us.
Well, very good. We are pleased to have all of you this evening, and all of our children are above average, but we're particularly pleased, that young folks from Abingdon Elementary in our town have done well and are representing us proudly at the state tournament, and we wish you all the best of luck. And I do have a couple of things to help bring you good luck, so if I could have everybody come forward here, I'd appreciate it.
I was held back.
No, it's
All righty, very good. Would you all introduce yourselves, please? Everybody tell your names.
I'm Austin Bennett. James Elmore. Ava Boltwood. Will Harris. Sarah Newhouse. Lexi Bensel. Calliope Kesters.
And some of you are even neighbors. We're pleased to have all of you. But let me give each of you one of the highly valued and coveted Town of Abingdon lapel pins. We want you to wear it with pride and let everybody know that you're from the town of Abingdon. Good heavens, and you've got something for me. Well, thank you. And just let me give you these pins, and they will bring nothing but good luck. And we even have one for some of the adults too, so that everybody will look good and know that they're on the same team in addition to their T-shirts. All right? Well, you're welcome. I think I have at least 2 more here in the bag.
I got one.
Dr. Elmore. And there we go. And also something that I'll put in the hands of the adults of the group. I wanted that for my mayor's contingency fund, and with the blessing and encouragement of the council, to offer a little bit of help for the travel arrangements that you're making. And we know that you guys are bound to do good, whether you bring home a big prize or not. We're very proud of you, and I'm going to just open my little present right here, and oh wow, and I've got a card with the pictures of all the team on it right here, and they thank us for the donation of helping out. The Cyborg 7 appreciates your act of kindness. We're thankful that you invited us. We hope we see you again, and that's from the Cyborg 7. And Cyborg 7, go well and do well out there. We have great confidence in you. We're very proud of you, and it's a wonderful thing to be the first team to go out there too and to represent us here. And kids from Abingdon do well wherever they go. And thank you for coming here tonight. And it is always a pleasure to have this type of event at one of our meetings instead of some of the things that are not quite as lively or entertaining that we'll get into before the night's over. But good luck to all of you, and thank you for being here. All right. I'll tell you what, we have the council. If we can get the council.
That'd be great.
Stand up in the back, and somebody. Yeah, I'm just wondering if everybody can be seen.
Maybe not.
It may not be tall enough.
Marilyn will be tall
If
enough.
not, we may have them to come down and you all stand
We
up.
can do that.
Front. Let's try that. Y'all care?
You guys come this way, stand in front here. There you go. And they'll go, yeah. That way they can see. Perfect. There you go.
And the shirt.
There you
I
go.
love that shirt.
There you go.
All right, very good. Okay. All right, that ought to work.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Okay, and I've got the card here. We'll hold that too.
Shouldn't the coaches come in?
Yeah,
Come into it.
Come on, everybody.
Where would be without our coaches?
Where would we be without our coaches?
One thing, Walt.
We would be here.
All right, good luck.
All right.
Thank you so much.
I believe everybody here on the council has had some experience with Legos over the years too.
And Mr. And Mr. Mayor, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that I have a cousin on this team also. Marilyn Uhas is my cousin, so.
Yeah. Very good.
I was going to tell you.
So as well as neighbors, we have relatives.
The last mayor was her
I
aunt.
bet that's exactly right. Yeah. All righty. Thank you all for coming. All righty. Okay, that brings us to special employee acknowledgments, and Mr. Kelly, I'll turn this one over to you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. It's my great pleasure, as always, to recognize town employees, especially for their longevity with the town. Tonight, we have two individuals to recognize, one of whom could not be here because of a death in the family. But I do want to recognize two of our great patrol officers, John N. Carty and Justin W. Greer. And I would ask, I believe John's here, if John will come forward so I can present him with his 5-year plaque and also his 5-year pin. I would also point out that Justin Greer has also been here for 5 years, and it's regrettable he couldn't be here, but we certainly understand under the circumstances.
Yeah, you got to get here in front of the road. Scooch. All right. Him down. Before you leave, I just
to say how fortunate we are in Abingdon to have the caliber of police officers that we have. They all do an excellent job, and I'm proud to say that I think I live in one of the safest towns in this part of Virginia, if not all of Virginia. And I thank you, and I thank Chief Sullivan and all the men for what they do every day.
Okay, I will mention that we do, one of the things that I failed to mention this evening is that we do have 2 public hearings this evening regarding specific issues, and in the course of those hearings, we'll invite the public to come forward and present any views that they may have on this subject to the council. And likewise, at the latter part of the meeting, there will be an opportunity for anyone who wishes to address the council about other items that are not on the agenda they may wish to. And I'm getting the look that somebody may want to add something.
Minutes.
I'm sorry?
Approval of minutes.
Well, there you go. You get excited about
The lingo's to run you in.
Yeah, they do. And so we're back to the basics here. Thank you. I did forget that, and there's no denying it. Okay, that will bring us to approval of minutes. Council, we have for your consideration the November 4th, 2013 work session minutes, also the regular meeting minutes from that same evening, and then the minutes of the recess meeting that was on November the 19th regarding the VDOT issue. What is your pleasure regarding this? And I would ask if there are any corrections or additions we need to note.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve all 3 sets of minutes as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve all 3 sets of minutes as presented. Any further discussion about this? Hearing none, I'll ask our clerk to call the roll, please.
Mrs. Deering.
Aye.
Mr. Howard.
Aye.
Mr. Humphries.
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe.
Aye.
Mayor Morgan.
Aye, thank you. All right, and again, that brings us back to the next item on our agenda, which are under public hearings and related and possibly first reading of ordinances. First item we have tonight is we will have a public hearing in a few minutes concerning consideration of a petition to vacate the Johnson Street right-of-way from Court Street to approximately 560 feet west of Court Street, the abutting property of tax maps number 005-61A, 012-41, 012-43, 012-45, 46, 48, 133, and 13-11. Mr. John Dew, can you come forward and enlighten us about this matter, please?
Be happy to. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. KVAT Incorporated has petitioned to vacate this section of Johnston Street. As you mentioned, it's the right-of-way section from Court Street to approximately 560 feet west of Court Street. You do have a map in your packets there showing the location of the petition. And following Code of Virginia, it's for us it's a 3-step process. This first meeting will serve as the public hearing, and then also we will then appoint a 3-member board of viewers to take a look at the petition to vacate the right-of-way and give a recommendation next month at the council meeting. And town staff will do the same. We'll be sending out information so all department heads can take a look and see if there's any opinions or concerns about the vacation of this right-of-way as well.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions of Mr. Dew regarding the nature of this matter? Okay, thank you very much, but don't go far.
Okay.
All righty. Okay, at this time, again, we have a public hearing that we're going to open for consideration of this petition to vacate the Johnson Street right-of-way, and we have described for the record where it's located. I will now declare the public hearing to be open. If there is anyone here who is present tonight who wishes to address the council on this particular matter, they may come forward and do so at the present time.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I have a letter that I've been asked to read from Mr. Withers that he would like to have read into the record, and also I would recommend that this be also given to the Board of Reviewers.
Okay, in other words, the viewers...
All of us, all of us have received it. Shall I read it, sir?
Yes, sir, if you would, please, if you'd read it into the record.
I will. This is from 3311 Crane Hill Drive, Lynchburg, Virginia, 24583, and it's dated November the 29th of 2013. Abingdon Town Council in care of Greg W. Kelly, Town Manager. Subject, agenda item for December 2nd meeting of Town Council. Gentlemen, I recently received a letter from the Town Planning Office regarding a proposal to consider the closure of a portion of Jackson Street in Stonewall Heights at the meeting of the Town Council to be held December 2nd, 2013. Due to medical problems, I will not be able to attend the meeting on December the 2nd, but would like to submit the following statement for consideration to the town regarding the proposed closure. I am the current owner of lots 13 and 14, map 004-10-13, and lots 6 and 7, map 012-4-6. And my family has owned this property for more than 70 years. In my opinion, the proposed closure would eliminate vehicular access to the rear of the lots 13 and 14, including my storage building located there, and it would block access to service vehicles for the upper portion of lots 6 and 7, thus reducing the value of both of the residential and the commercially zoned lots. For these reasons, I am opposed to a closure of the right-of-way of Jackson Street as originally laid out, and respectfully request that you give consideration to these concerns in reaching a decision on this matter. Yours truly, W.T. Withers. And the last name is spelled W-I-T-H-E-R-S. And the council was already furnished, each one of us was furnished one of these.
All righty, very good, sir. Thank you. Is there anyone else or anyone present tonight, again, who wishes to address the council regarding this particular matter? Hearing none, I will declare the public hearing to be closed. And I will note at this time we have another similar request in the same general neighborhood concerning a proposed closure of a road, and I think it would be appropriate at this point in time if Mr. Dew would come forward and present that one to us as well. And again, we will follow this same ritual after you've presented this particular situation to us.
Okay. KVAD Incorporated also submitted a petition to vacate this unopened section of what was formerly known as Mountain View Street. It is connected to the other right-of-way that they are petitioning to vacate. It's a small north-south section of right-of-way between the Jackson Street right-of-way and Johnson Street. And we have the same procedure to follow per the Code of Virginia.
All right, very good, sir. And I will note that this is, as you described it, the Mountain View, it's the unopened right-of-way formerly known as Mountain View Street from Johnson Street to Jackson Street, and it abuts a property on tax maps number 012-45A, 012-45, 012-43. Okay. At the present time, I will declare the public hearing concerning this proposed right-of-way closure or an unopened right-of-way closure to be opened. I'm not sure if I'm getting that confusing that or not, but anyway, we are considering closing an unopened right-of-way, and I will now declare the public hearing regarding this matter to be opened. Is there anyone present tonight who wishes to address the council regarding this matter? If so, they may come forward at the present time.
I might add that that letter previously written, read into the record for the other one applies to this one as well.
Okay. Thank you very much. Is there anyone who wishes to address this council regarding this matter? Hearing none, I will declare the public hearing to be closed. Mr. Dew, as you noted earlier, we have followed the procedure of appointing viewers to visit, make an on-site inspection of the proposed properties that are affected by this and to present a recommendation to council. Would you perhaps offer some suggestions of folks who have done this for us in the past?
I would be glad to. It's a 3-member board of viewers. We have 3 individuals that have done this several times in the past, and I've contacted them and they're willing to volunteer their time again. It's Al Bradley, Monty Vernon, and Dan Matthews.
Very good, sir. Yeah, I think in the past it has been customary to make a sort of token payment for this service.
It's a payment dictated by the code of Virginia. It's $50 a piece for their service to be paid by the petitioner.
All right, by the petitioner. Okay. Council, okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions, Mr. Dew? Okay, Council, what is your pleasure regarding this matter?
I'll make a motion to go by Mr. Dew's recommendation of these three viewers.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
And I'll bet the motion and second also covered paying them at the rate that he described as well.
That's true.
Okay, very good. All right. Thank you. Is there any further discussion regarding the matter? All right, hearing none, I'll ask our clerk to call the roll, please.
Mrs. Drury?
Aye.
Mr. Howard?
Aye.
Mr. Humphries?
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe?
Aye.
Mayor Morgan?
Aye. Thank you very much. Okay, that brings us to the second reading of the ordinances, and we have for our consideration on a second reading the comprehensive plan 2027 update. Mr. Jackson, would you come forward and talk with us about that, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. At last month's meeting, you had a first reading of this proposed, revised, updated comprehensive plan. Do you want me to go through each little bit? Okay. Then I'll do the quick and easy then.
Considering that we have acted on it once, I think.
But we'd answer some other considerations.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll add that summary in of what was asked to be
Thank you
included.
very much.
I can put that. We did include the mixed use and infill development study that was done by ETSU's Applied Social Research Lab. Put that information in under the economic development portion. We included a potential trail connector from Abingdon to Meadowview to Emory to Glade to connect in with the Salt Trail. We've also asked Washington County to include that in their comprehensive plan, and they have agreed to do that. This is one that I failed to mention to you all last month on the conference call. The state, through VDOT and the Department of Conservation and Recreation, has an initiative right now, the Beaches to Bluegrass Trail. It's a trail that would connect Virginia Beach to Cumberland Gap, utilizing existing trails, and then also working with communities to develop trails. The town's urban path system would be part of that, as well as the Creeper Trail, and I've put in a section on that in the Greenways section about supporting the Beaches to Bluegrass Trail, because it would include another item we have in here from 2007, which is the Reedy Creek Trail, which follows the Window Railroad corridor out to Bristol. And then also pedestrian safety measures, a study of the crosswalks for well-lighted crosswalks and line of sight visibility for those. Those were all asked to be put in last month, and I've included those.
Okay, Council, are there questions of Mr. Jackson, things that we, regarding the plan that we perhaps need clarification on, things we might have left out the last go-round? Anybody? Thank you very much. We appreciate all the hard work that the balance of our staff and our planning commission has put into this effort. I have noted on a number of occasions that I feel like that one of the successes of our town is the fact that we do good planning, and that I feel like we get better at it every year. And we thank you very much for the work that your department and our, and our planning commission and everybody has done on that.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kelly?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, but before you get around to motions, I would just recommend, as I did last time with the first reading, that the actual formal reading of this be dispensed with, as it is multiple pages long. We could be here for a while.
You're darn straight. Thank you. I'm glad I had not even considered the actual formal reading of the document and into the plan. Well, thank you very much. I would entertain a motion regarding this matter, and that motion would perhaps even include the recommendation that we dispense with the formal reading of the document into the record.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the comprehensive plan as presented and dispense with the formal reading of the plan.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second regarding the approval of the plan on the second reading and dispensing of the formal reading of the document into the record. Any further discussion about the matter or questions?
Just to note that for the public, the comprehensive plan is on the website, right?
This version is on there right now.
Right.
Okay. Anybody else? Ms. Rosenbaum, if you would call the roll, please.
Mrs. Gearing. Aye. Mr. Howard.
Aye.
Mr. Humphries.
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe.
Aye.
Mayor Morgan.
Aye, thank you. That brings us to reports from the town manager. We have before us a consideration of request for funding for the Washington County Business Plan Competition and Business Expo. I think Ms. Susan Howard is here tonight to talk with us about that, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. In your packet, you had a letter explaining the request for funding for the Washington County Business Plan Challenge. I'm a member of that team. And there may be some questions that you'll have about it. We had a meeting this morning of our team, and we do have a goal of $20,000. As of this morning, our hope is to have 3 prizes for the folks who are contestants in the Business Plan Challenge: a $5,000 first prize, second $3,000, and $2,000 for third prize, which would mean a total prize money of $10,000. The winner will also receive a 1-year free membership to the Washington County Chamber of Commerce, in addition to rent at the Small Business Incubator for a year at half of the normal price. We so far have raised $6,000. $5,000 of that comes from the Washington County IDA, with potential for more from them if we decide that we need to go back and ask for more funds, and $1,000 from Highland Union Bank. And we are in the process of contacting some other banks and to raise some additional funds. Does anybody have questions?
I might just clarify for you a little bit more. The Business Plan Challenge is a 6-week educational class for entrepreneurs or potential entrepreneurs, and they are required to attend the whole 6 weeks of classes, which starts out with how to write a business plan, where the financing is, and it goes through the license fees and legal contracts, and so this whole 6-week plan, at the end of it, the contestants present their plan to a group of judges, and the winning business plan gets the $5,000, and it's a match toward their startup. So they don't just get $5,000, it's a match towards starting a business.
Well, they actually have to submit, it's reimbursement of expenses that they have already paid.
So it sounds like the Shark Tank.
A little bit.
Well, a little bit. It's actually started in Marion, and they've been real successful with it there as far as opening some new businesses in their downtown.
I think we've done it in Bristol, too, if I recall.
Bristol has.
And Russell County.
Right.
All right.
People Incorporated is pretty heavily involved, and so is Virginia Department of Business Assistance. It's a joint effort of most all of the organizations in town.
Sounds like a good program.
Well, our request to you all is for $5,000. Of course, there's no guarantee that the winner will be a business in Abingdon, but I think we will definitely have Abingdon folks that will be participating in the challenge, and it's going to be a great opportunity for people to get training, because we're not going to limit the number of folks who can participate. So.
Well, we definitely have an incubator in our town that is potentially an integral part of it, and the competition is being held in our town.
It's going to be held at the incubator.
Yeah. So, Council, what's your pleasure regarding this matter?
I can't make the motion, I don't think, because I'm on the committee.
Okay.
I feel like I'm kind of obligated here, too.
All right.
But you said you already got 6,000, you're asking 5 from us? Is that what
A goal of to raise $20,000 total.
20,000 total.
For this
Right.
locality.
For the Washington County Challenge, right. The more money that we can raise, then the more money we're able to give to entrepreneurs to potentially open businesses. But that's our goal, is to have at least $10,000 in prize money. The rest will be for materials and marketing.
Well, Kathy's on the committee, and Bob's feels certain reservations, and I generally don't make motions myself.
I mean, I would be glad to do it, Mr. Mayor. I don't think it would be a conflict for either one.
I don't either,
They don't
but,
receive monetary compensation for that. But I will make the motion that we approve $5,000 for the entrepreneurial program and development that will come out of council contingency. Which is the what, Mark? What do we have in council contingency?
That's okay. We've got enough, I think, to handle this. All righty.
And I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve $5,000 from council contingency for that purpose. Is there any other specific questions that we might have regarding this matter?
You can vote, because it's not been voted.
Okay.
I'm going to vote.
Anybody? I'll ask our clerk to call the roll, please.
Mrs. Deering?
Aye.
Mr. Howard?
Aye.
Mr. Humphries?
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe?
Aye.
Mayor Morgan?
Aye. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All righty. Can we be of some help? Okay. All right, thank you very much. Okay, next item is a consideration and discussion of appointments on the Abingdon Fire Department. Mr. Kelly.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of council, as you're probably aware, the town charter and the town code call for the appointment of a fire chief and an assistant fire chief by the council. Those are the only two appointed officers on the Abingdon Fire Department. The balance of the crew is currently made up of volunteers. Some time ago, we received notification that the current chief, Joey Burke, was wanting to step down in his position as fire chief due to some personal issues that he had relative to family and business. And Joey did gracefully agree to continue on through the end of the current year, being the end of December. Since that time, the fire department has met, its membership has met, and they have made a recommendation of two individuals to be appointed as the fire chief, and one is the fire chief and one is the assistant fire chief. The recommendation of the fire department, and Mr. Howard could certainly fill us in more if I'm misstating anything, but is John McCormick to be appointed as the fire chief effective January 1, and C.J. McLaughlin, who is also one of our police officers, to be appointed as the assistant fire chief effective January 1, 2014. Did I say 2013 in the first one?
May have, but it's...
Okay, January 1, 2014. It's been the traditional policy of, well, I won't say the policy, but it's been traditional in the past of the Abingdon Town Council, although we don't generally appoint fire chiefs and assistant chiefs that often in terms of changeover. We do approve them every 2 years when we have our organizational meeting. But in the past, I believe that the town council has by and large agreed to go along with the recommendations that were made by the members of the Abingdon Fire Department. And I have presented their recommendations, and if there's something Mr. Howard would like to add.
No, I think you've pretty well covered it, and unless somebody else wants to do it, I'd like the pleasure of doing it, to nominate or name John McCormick as fire chief and C.J. McLaughlin as the assistant fire chief effective first of the year.
Is there? We have a motion to appoint Mr. McCormick as the fire chief and Mr. McLaughlin as the assistant chief effective the first of the year. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Again, we have a motion and a second to make those appointments. And is there any further discussion about this?
Well, just one.
Yes, sir.
Just one. And
Of course, I'm just because that Chief Burke is leaving January 1, and the council will then meet July 1 to reappoint both Mr. McCormick and Mr. McLaughlin, this is an interim term that they'll be serving until until our reorganization. At that time, they will be, as has been traditionally, just rolled over again. So that's what we're talking about.
Well, my motion is to make not an interim position, but just to name them as those titles.
But then they would be serving a longer term than normal, because then we wouldn't reappoint them in July.
Let's clarify that point. Basically, if I would be correct in my interpretation of this, these gentlemen would be filling the unexpired term with Mr. Burke, and then we would be back on our normal cycle and make, the standard appointment we do every 2 years when we make reappointments for town manager, treasurer, town attorney, and so forth. It would fall right back into that position. And I don't know that we're necessarily making an interim appointment as much as we would be making an appointment to fill the unexpired term.
Either term you want to use.
Would that be a correct statement? In other words, it would not be a conditional appointment or anything like that. It would be to fill the unexpired term.
Yes,
No, exactly.
it would come up again in July with all the other council appointments at that time.
Okay. Everybody clear about that? Okay.
I see interim as somebody new to a position.
Yeah.
But these guys are not.
Well, the vocabulary is, the unexpired sounds just as well with me as is. That's great.
I think that really is.
I think they'll do great jobs. I was trying to get the correct term to use.
Yeah, and I think that's good that we did clarify that point, because, again, we're required by law to make certain appointments every 2 years, and again, it's the town manager, the town attorney, our town clerk, treasurer, and
Fire chief.
And the fire chief and assistant chief, I believe. So there will be those 6 appointments at that time. So, all righty. Any further discussion about this matter or questions? Okay, I'll ask Ms. Rosenbaum to call the roll, please.
Mrs. Deering.
Aye.
Mr. Howard.
Aye.
Mr. Humphries.
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe.
Aye.
Mayor Morgan.
Hi, and we thank you, first of all, for both you gentlemen, and Mr. Burke, who is, I don't see with us this evening. We want to thank you, first of all, for your service that you've done up till now. We thank you for the service that you're about to render to us, which is a critical element of public safety in our community. I think we're all very proud of the department that we have and the good job that it's done over the years. And I'm very appreciative of the work that Mr. Burke has done. He's, all of the crew puts in a lot of long, hard hours. And we thank you very much for for what you've done and what you're willing to do in the future. And we look forward to that. Thank you. All righty, very good. Okay. That brings us to, let's see if I lost my place here. Appointments to boards. Well, first of all, we have matters that are not on the agenda. Is there anyone present this evening who wishes to bring a matter before the council for our consideration?
Mr. Mayor, I think we have one.
Okay, well, again, I was giving these folks an opportunity, then I was going to ask the council, but that's all right. We're all on the same page here. Council, do you have any matters that you wish?
I do.
We're going to tell you now.
We overlooked, during our budget session, we overlooked the funding that we annually give the Historic Society. Their appropriation, excuse me, we did not give anybody any increases in the appropriations from 2012-13 to 2013-14. So the appropriation, the motion is to give the Historic Society the appropriation that they had received in 2012-2013 of $2,700.
I'll second that.
And that would come out of council?
And that would come out of council contingency funds.
All right, is there any further discussion regarding this matter? Hearing none, I'll ask our clerk to call the roll.
Mrs. Deering.
Aye.
Mr. Howard.
Aye.
Mr. Humphries.
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe.
Aye.
Mayor Morgan.
Aye. Okay, thank you very much. And it's, the history always comes first. All right. That brings us to appointments to boards and committees, and we have a number of appointments. First of all, to the Economic Development Authority, the Sinking Spring Cemetery Committee, Tourism Advisory Committee, the Board of Architectural Review, and the Sustain Abingdon Committee. Some of them may be fairly straightforward, but others may merit some discussion. Council, what's your pleasure regarding this matter? Is there a need to go into executive session to discuss possible appointments?
Maybe, but the Sinking Spring Cemetery Committee, Carolyn Lee is eligible for a second term, and I move that we reappoint Ms. Lee to a second term on the Sinking Spring Cemetery Committee.
I'll second that one.
All right, we have a motion and second to reappoint Ms. Carolyn Lee to a second term on the Sinking Spring Cemetery Committee. Any discussion? Hearing none, if you'll call the roll, please, Ms. Rosenbaum.
Mrs. Deering?
Aye.
Mr. Howard?
Aye.
Mr. Humphries?
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe?
Aye.
Mayor Morgan?
Aye. Okay, and then notice we have several appointments to the Sustain Abingdon Committee. It's recommended there's several people who are eligible for reappointment. Mr. Tom McMullen, Nick Saffey, Sherry Lee, Kevin Sigmund, Kevin Worley, Sarita Moore, Daniil Montgomery, Mr. Garrett Jackson. And then there was a recommendation regarding 3 new appointments to the committee, Jen Shaver, Katie Commander, and Rick Statzer. Is that one that we could handle, do you think, here in this session?
Is that the recommendation of the committee?
All right.
I move that
Okay.
we accept we reappoint the people that you named and accept the 3 new members.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and second to reappoint those who were eligible for reappointment and the 3 additional new members. Any further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, if I might interrupt, there was also an additional memo from Mr. Jackson that set forth term limits for this group. Can we include those recommended
And I
term limits
will
in
amend my motion to include the term limits recommended.
And I gather it was not so much term limits as it was establishing terms.
Rotating terms.
Basis. Okay, and so your motion and the second would both cover those items as well. Any further discussion about the matter? If our clerk will call the roll, please.
Mrs. Deering? Aye. Mr. Howard?
Aye.
Mr. Humphries?
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe?
Aye.
Mayor Morgan?
Aye. Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
On the Tourism Advisory Committee, I have a recommendation for that, if you want to revisit that.
We could, or does the council, we again have 2 or 3 other items. Do you wish to discuss this?
I think we've kind of discussed this, we've already discussed this.
I think this is kind of straightforward because the person that's leaving is a representative from the hotel.
I think we could handle straightforward.
Yes, I would like to move that we appoint Christopher Lowe of Martha Washington Inn for that slot.
Second.
We have a motion and second to appoint Christopher Lowe to the Tourism Advisory Committee. Any further discussion about that? Hearing none, I'll ask our clerk to call the roll.
Mrs. Deering? Aye. Mr. Howard?
Aye.
Mr. Humphries?
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe?
Aye.
Mayor Morgan?
Aye. Okay, and that leaves several appointments that we could potentially go into executive session for. I will note that in case anybody decides that they may have seen enough sausage making for one evening, we have a whole series of events that are coming up during the course of this month. For tomorrow night, for example, one of Barter's new productions, towards the night before Christmas, will open. On the 5th of first Thursday we have coming up, there's going to be a lot of artwork and venues that will be open. The Market Pavilion Christmas tree lighting will take place at 6:30 at the Market Pavilion. Santa Claus usually makes an appearance of that evening. We have various elementary school choirs that will be performing there that night as part of the ceremony. It's a big evening. It's a good time to be out. The Kiwanis Christmas Parade will be this Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. Old Abingdon Christmas Open House will also be on the 7th, which is Saturday, running from 1 to 6 p.m. the Christmas Cabins Tour will also be on the 7th. On the 9th, we have Starry Story Night Community Christmas that will be at the Barter Theater. Breakfast with Santa on the 14th. The 21st, Heartwood Breakfast with Santa. He gets around. 24th and 25th, the offices will be closed here, and they will also be closed for the New Year's holiday. And that's a long series of announcements that we have here, but this is a great town in Christmas. It's a great town all the time, but it's particularly a good place to be at Christmas time. I will entertain a motion regarding that executive session.
Give me just 1 second.
Yes, sir.
I just want to add to it, and Bob Howard knows this better than I do, and probably knows the time, but Santa Claus is going to be at the Abingdon Methodist Church during the Christmas parade. So it used to be Santa Claus met everyone down at the old Piggly Wiggly and gave them some treats and stuff. I think if they go to the Abingdon Methodist Church between 11 and 1, that Santa Claus will be meeting kids there and granting, I'm sure, their every wish.
The time.
Yeah. And the other thing I would like to mention, although it's not on this list and it will be coming up later on in the month before that we have another meeting, is that the Taste of the Town, the trolley that takes you around Taste of the Town, I had the pleasure of going on one of the trolley events for Taste of the Town. It was excellent. If you haven't gone, you need to go. It's just a nice night out. And so and that's it, Mr. Mayor.
Very good, sir. Anybody else have anything in that venue at the moment? Okay, again, I will entertain a motion regarding going into executive session.
I move that we go into executive session, code section
2.2-3711A1.
Had it on the tip of her tongue.
for appointments to advisory boards.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and second to go into executive session for consideration of appointments to several advisory boards. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I will ask our clerk to call the roll, please.
Mrs. Deering?
Aye.
Mr. Howard?
Aye.
Mr. Humphries?
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe?
Aye.
Mayor Morgan?
Aye. Okay, thank you very much. We will return. I hope it won't be long, but we are proceeding into executive session. Thank you.
Who's got the cards?
I hope not. We'd be frozen. We'd be frozen. Oh, shit. On the trolley.
Yeah, and I sure hope that
I saw that.
as well.
All right. Yes, ma'am. I got a check with
Oh, I wish you would. I wish you would. I will take care of that personally. Okay. I'll do it. Okay. Yeah, I want to go.
I'm going to call you assistant.
I have one, but you can give me another. Might be a little cold.
All right, see you, Kevin. That's good. Are they live feed? Are they recording? They are recording.
Oh, yeah.
No, we just want to.
How they miss y'all?
Oh, you saw that, yeah. Did you dance come on?
No, but I couldn't start playing.
You did
Oh.
too. We are watching.
Measures quite good. Sally, what's supposed to say? Okay. Yeah, I put it on our news, we started a newsletter. Matter of fact, my list, the list of bills that came to our newsletter. Oh, okay. A couple of conditions.
Hello.
It's
This Saturday?
actually-
Oh, okay.
Break that.
Wash.
My wife was supposed to see when I
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. I have been down there. Yep. Just.
No, there's no criminal activity, but the adult content quite a lot.
All right, good.
That's one of those.
Is that, is the season? Me? Yeah. I noticed that today. Yeah.
No,
Twisted,
there's nothing.
twisted sign, I noticed it today.
Although, I will have my investigation.
Keep that straight there. Thanks. If I didn't have to do that, I'd say, okay. I'll do it right now. Thank you very much. I'm gonna record it right now. It probably won't get done right now. Or maybe I'll just record it.
Just need a hammer.
Sure, an executive session.
Need a hammer.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
This is impressive.
Local government action, of course, it won't get done, but we're all saying this.
Hey, Garrett.
He won't grab
We'll
it.
send 3 people home.
Garrett.
Where'd
he go?
I don't know.
You need him? Do you
Yeah, we will.
glad to see you?
Yeah, thank you.
Garrett, here he is.
I'm cool. They can give us the same time.
Thank you, Chief.
Well-
The mural artist is finished for the year, and we're gonna get these. We're gonna make sure we got, come and thank the staff.
Okay.
It's stored at the-
Okay, over last year.
Oh,
we had it before, right?
There on the left, right. We got permission.
We can start the BBU,
Okay.
Back
That's
there,
expensive.
back up there. I'm glad to hear that you're like,
When?
she might have. Well, I said, I'll find out from him that he invited.
I like that to be
Okay.
continued.
It might be that we have to take it down and.
I think it's
just lay it out
inviting
there.
most.
That's fine. That'll work.
Scaffolding.
Yeah, at least it has the tape, but it also is asking, climb on up here and do your graffiti wherever you want.
Well, they
Well,
left,
Has it been coded yet? It has been?
they left the ladder.
Yeah.
which is-
Yeah, the ladder,
Scaffold.
the ladder.
That'll all come down.
The former or the latter?
The ladder.
The ladder and the former. Unless you're informing.
Well, actually, we can get the ladder down, that would be that hard.
We'll do, Floyd will do that tonight too.
If
That's
somebody would
the
come up
basic
there and
place.
hold the bottom of it, I'll climb up there, if I can get those knots untied. We'll get the guys.
If you need a drill, Floyd knows where to get the drill with a bit.
Yeah, and he's
with
got a jacket
With
already
a
that he
3-foot
drills
bit.
in.
Yes.
My drilling jacket.
His narwhal, it looks like a narwhal spike, yeah.
Just about went over them whole things.
Did you get my note about the email? After you got, you did it.
Did last week. And I didn't do anything about it. All I
Well,
need to know,
that's okay.
here's, and there's a problem. What is it you asked me? I got
Well, I
it.
had asked you if we could have, to make the intern AMS assistant, just because change it from the career, get a
Sounds like they're swallowing chunks of time.
Well, they are, well,
change.
they're halfway
We
through,
don't
right?
want to use them in advance added anymore, so we're not.
Are they past the halfway
Look
point?
at me when you're
To add.
using me.
I think AMS is easier than make it school.
Okay.
Well, no, when they exhaust the contingency, then they go to the contingency.
And that would be easy.
Isn't that what they do?
Then you go to your budget department.
Yeah.
Can you just write those things, this is what, these are the emails that's on?
Let's take that.
And send that to me?
John, I would
That's all I was
actually
gonna
do that
say.
list.
I did that once, but I'll.
I'm pretty sure that the ones on West Main
Just say, these are the ones I
covered.
want.
This one and this one. It just needs to
I'm
be
gonna double
39
check
each.
tonight.
Okay.
Right out there.
And then,
I'm
I'll
pretty
change
sure,
it
because there were quite a few of them in this lane right there. I know there were a couple around Charter, and there were a couple around Jones.
It's better if I
Oh, yeah,
change
well,
it
maybe
to
I
see it.
can, that's fine. I just didn't see him on that list.
It'll get down in my,
When I went through
I have
last
only
week,
have 23,000
one night
emails.
last week, I noticed a few of them out there. I just- Like one near the muffler shop, I think. One, I think, as you're getting your Walgreens.
And that's the
where that
problem.
big route
I get so much
is.
junk. You know, I get so much
Somewhere
junk,
there.
and I
Of
get
course, you know, wait
so
till
much
it's
junk
daylight, right?
that if I don't,
We
you
tie
know, I
orange
have to
tape.
really
Oh,
pay
yeah,
attention
with you
to
guys, I thought you meant.
the things
No,
that are
light's not
important, because they
working.
get
We've
bumped
got
out
it.
fast.
No.
I get on average 8 to 1,200 emails a day.
But
So I can't, if I don't stay.
I have seen that, okay,
So
good.
is there survey tape on them?
I'm in IT, and
We've got to
pay
everybody
attention to
thinks
that.
that the IT director needs to
Gotcha,
know about
yeah.
every
Well,
possible
and they could-
piece of equipment. And
I'll give
then,
them 30
amazingly
days.
enough,
We're gonna report.
people
Well,
get
no
stuff
wonder you don't see
that
that.
decide that I need to see.
Oh, that's
it.
funny.
Oh, it's terrible. I'm telling
Oh,
you,
well.
it is,
I mean,
come on. It is a lot of work for me to
Yeah,
track
that's-
through all that email and find the ones that are important, because,
And I'll
and I
usually
do
give them 30
overlook
days.
things sometimes,
And then I'll say,
especially
That should be
yours,
adequate, but,
because it's not your
I mean, I
name.
understand, well, doing.
I'd do a whole lot better if your
They
email was your
pretty
name,
significant score
because
back
I would
on,
see it
right,
and your
like
name would
right
pop
now,
out,
they
and I would notice that.
The thing is,
When I see a
we report
van,
every day, they'll hold them,
that would help.
and then they'll show up at one time and do it.
Okay.
Twice a week, they'll hold them, and they'll show up one time and do it.
Well, I agree,
So
and I'm not,
it's
I'm not
it's a game.
intentionally overlooking you.
Well, it's 30
Sometimes
days, so
I
I just have to.
do. And to be honest, I just
They
get way
skip
too
3
many
months.
emails, and I call through them and I junk them so that they don't come into my inbox, and it just never seems to help, because it's just an ever-growing ridiculous.
I don't get too much. Just
My
my
problem
staff, and I've started trying to do it, put on there every day, look at it, say, okay, do I need to keep that on this? Or delete them, release.
I want to go back and look at the letter. I don't believe it.
It doesn't take me long to build them up, and I have to delete 10 to 12,000 a month just to try to stay to some degree ahead.
I didn't even read them. I don't know what they said. It was some slam memory. I need to be John.
I can't even begin to read them, because it's just so much, it's all advertisements about stuff and new technology and new stuff. And amazingly, people get stuff and then forward it to me, so that I get it 2 or 3 times. That phone died. It dies when I come in here because I can't find a signal.
According to,
I looked to see.
I had a little bit of battery, but I must have some purpose.
Well, I've been in town hall long enough today that it searches and searches, and it just starts killing battery really fast.
That's hilarious. That's only 30 seconds over it.
I mean, you shouldn't even be at Mark. You shouldn't have. We got half of our town contribution already. Is in January, can we request the other? Okay. Because it's not truly 6 months apart, so.
We do this so that the drunks at night think it's a disco.
Just start dancing.
What's as good as done? Steady on my feet, one time.
You see that video of the guy do that dance routine, that the female police officer leads him through all these different sobriety
It's actually
tests?
from Reno 911.
It's not real?
No.
Oh, man.
It's from what?
Reno 911.
I thought
See,
that
now I
was
know
real.
why you don't have any cable channels. You don't need them, you just watch it.
You just,
YouTube.
you just crushed me that that's not real. It's a brilliant video.
Reno 911.
Gosh.
We dad gonna do a kill Ron Reynolds the other night. He turned in front of the car.
This man has never seen a.
We actually charged him.
I'm gonna
That's all
find,
We charged him.
I'm gonna find Bob's copy of the video. He doesn't have a cable channel because they play
He
it.
doesn't put any
Because
reflectors
they
on.
play it
He
20.
doesn't have his lights front or rear. And he was out there, he was
Different,
he was turning
different, okay.
right there
This
next
is
to
different.
the Hutton
My
house.
grandmother,
And he turned left right in front of the car. And she tattooed him. And put 12 stitches in it. He went through the windshield. He ended up on the windshield.
They still do it. They still do it.
Oh,
They still do it. They still do it. 24 hours.
She left
Somebody
town
gets
and
to
laughed. Just
The motorist that was behind him, he was actually silhouetted by the light.
Yeah, that one does.
Yeah, I caught the one that plays like dark jacket, dark pants.
It's just a kid reflecting the network.
It's 15 bucks.
But we didn't change it, it's gotta be something.
It's got all the
Riding a
network,
bike is a vehicle,
Weather
so
channel,
he's not
Chrome
identified.
security, because coming into your
one
website,
PBS.
That's not a motor.
won't let you download.
So you can see Down Abbey.
It says
I used to
security.
have on my computer. I seen you interviewed on.
I'm not just saying.
The channel
It could be a Sunday, and I'm
I forget what they call it, HGTV, homegrown TV.
It's strange, that's the
But
first
they
time
do all
I've
local
picked
stuff,
up
like
anything on
local
Sunday,
festivals,
something like
community
that.
festivals. They do.
They used to put in the truck.
Here in Abingdon all the time.
But Safari,
They
was
do
fine.
interviews. I've seen them.
I pulled it down with Safari with no problem.
With Chrome,
Sunday morning, you dressed up, walking.
I don't have it on the football, which doesn't hurt, because I don't get ESPN.
Yeah, I use it on my iPad too, so.
But I get, I mean, I watch it,
But,
I watch too much football. So
How about fighting war?
Hey, did you?
Yeah, we have to work.
What do I need to know?
I wanted to be fighting war.
I don't know that's against the law. He hasn't talked to me yet.
It's just more for my.
We're not gonna talk
Yeah, it's
about
fighting war. That drives me crazy,
Yeah.
you know.
We need to get,
We'll be sitting there and I'm thinking, okay,
for a second.
land on something for 5 minutes.
I feel like if I had it, I would just do that, put through endlessly, and not just waste time. Well, I did, it's perfect for me.
You just go to his house.
Oh, boy, we have lunch.
I was here, the only reason I wanted football season and.
You know, we have become closer as the years have gone by.
I need to
Wrinkle box.
I've enjoyed our friendship and.
You can just buy everything you want.
I would buy you lunch, but.
As long as you got.
I got Christmas coming.
And you got kids.
Hey, you got Christmas one out this week. Plus you get your one football season.
We get Christmas lunch every week?
Yeah.
Really?
Bonus.
Boom.
You get your 1%
I've been here an extra year.
But then you get, and there's a lot of the, you can watch a lot of the shows just going to their sites.
I'm going out this weekend. How you doing?
I want
Minus
to get
taxes.
Netflix,
Oh.
which is cheap. Can I?
I'll buy you
get
lunch.
through
I'll buy you
my code?
lunch.
Yes.
and
I'll
tacos.
have it.
You're fighting words,
You're gonna get 1/2 of 1%.
I'm telling you what, I want.
Considered part of everybody's vocabulary. Why would
Everybody here.
No, we don't need to go to lunch tomorrow. We
How
can
long's
let
lunch?
them council left there
Since last
tomorrow.
December. I don't, but now he didn't
There's
get me
probably a lot.
the most recent version of it, but that's okay.
That's okay.
No, you got an iPad.
Probably,
It's the same one.
probably give this out the corner be plentiful. Meatloaf.
But at night, of course, we'll have the TV on, and we'll
The-
both
the
be
new-
sitting in
the
our
new one.
chairs.
Yeah, the new iPad
You're
Air
talking
is.
about the dinner tonight? I thought, yeah, I've heard it is.
Oh,
Yeah, it is.
we're just talking about
I love
leftovers
my
tomorrow.
It's just, you're,
I never thought I'd be so
right,
tired.
128 gig.
I did it with the flip phone, just
Yeah,
don't take mine.
it's on love.
Yeah.
I tried
I
to
like the 5S. See, I have the 5S iPhone. and
The
it's-
meatloaf and corn and mashed potatoes are all delicious. Nice things.
I would like to upgrade my iPad to.
Those rolls are like, are those Sister Shooters rolls?
Sister Shooters.
Yeah,
Oh,
Sister Shooters rolls, I
like
love
this,
it.
piano base, you can.
Those are, and if
You
you
don't
don't
need
frozen
to-
ones, just
places
pop them
have
down
free
for 5
Wi-Fi.
minutes.
And
You
most,
can't do
most
that.
places do. You know.
Love it.
Wi-Fi everywhere and cameras everywhere. We're all looking at
Except the cook and come.
And accept it in Southview.
you. No cameras.
No, not everywhere.
No, there's Wi-Fi
There's
there.
ups
You
and
just can't
downs.
hit it
There's
because
Southview,
you
you
gotta
can't
point
get
your
it.
antenna straight up.
I can't get it to my house either.
Yeah.
I'm not in
Here.
Southview.
Huh?
I'm not in Southview, but I can't get it.
No, but what you're,
Where was
you're,
the rocket made?
not sure about,
Yeah, right.
In Winter Haven.
They want to put a module on the new.
I'm thinking of the name where it's not my head. I knew where it was, but I couldn't think of it.
Really? I mean, what is it?
Yeah, yeah, they don't, well, it's a single.
It's just
not
like a-
It's the
The company
topography.
in California.
Well, all they have to do is put a antenna out there.
The company that's sending
Feeder antenna.
rockets to the.
No, China.
This is with a line of sight to the other antenna, and that's all it's taking, that's all it
Rocket
needs.
too big today. I don't know, I just heard them say,
they
they wanted to
did.
put that.
That's what we're talking about in
Did they
Southview.
land them?
And then they eventually played to have a man.
First one in the neighborhood.
Never even on the
There's gonna be a Walmart
We got
there.
our flag there.
Probably just not long
No,
there.
that's worse.
At 19.
We've got our flag on the moon. We own it.
What?
Did y'all see that interview with,
Exit
what's the
19.
guy's name, Jeff Bezos on
Yeah, Exit
Amazon?
19.
Amazon?
We're talking about.
Talking about
Chinese sending
using
rocket
drones to
big.
deliver
Oh, they did?
Amazon packages.
Unmanned.
Seriously,
Oh,
and he
yeah.
says he feels like it's gonna be
Crash
a
it.
reality within
But
like 5
they
years.
said they wanted to put
the module and then I guess it's
delivering
practice.
like Amazon packages by drone.
Well, I
And it
didn't
showed
mean
a
we're not
demo,
doing anything.
picked it up inside the warehouse, took off and delivered it on the front porch.
Oh, yeah, you saw that thing too with it, with
Yeah, I mean, that's
Amazon?
crazy. I mean, how
Amazon's
many-
trying to do that?
How many packages you still have? Jetsons.
I mean, to figure out how
It really isn't.
to
That was one of my favorite parts.
Well, they got,
bumping into.
that's already designed, well,
It's all
they put in
GPS.
GPS coordinates.
Yeah, just put it.
GPS coordinates.
UPS.
Oh, it's a dog
UPS use GPS.
I guess they'll have the Amazon coordinates on there, but I can't imagine, I mean, he's convinced it's gonna happen.
I believe it can happen.
Yeah, we
But
can.
how can you deliver millions of packages? You can't deliver millions.
It'll eventually get regulated by the.
Well,
It'll have to.
no, probably, it might
It's
be,
already,
it
right?
might be locally that, you know, the guy in his truck, he's going out to places, his connections, okay, goes to this address,
Maybe.
goes there and comes back, do local type stuff, but
UPS will start doing it. I still don't see how it could be, it's so efficient, but anyway. It's just gonna eliminate more people's jobs, you know?
well, yeah, but look at the overhead, I mean, the amount of Wi-Fi that you're gonna have to get that working.
They can't do it.
They don't. and
Can't do it in Pan Avenue, you know?
And the bandwidth alone.
No,
is-
we're light years ahead, but we still got a long way to go.
I think the iPad Air is pretty well.
Oh, it is, it's nice. Yeah. It's just, it's got a 64-bit co-processor.
I'm not doing any five.
You get a lot more memory in it too.
He posted a picture of him holding out on the shoulders. There's a bunch of players in the background. I didn't play football, but basketball. Oh, okay. No, I'm not a football player. But I'm sure I will know all the players in the background. I was like, how many times is it? No, I play basketball.
You still play basketball?
Sometimes. But there's a bunch of guys you needed to have to
It sounds like the gym.
Walk after we put some kids to bed.
Hey, is the gym open or y'all rented it?
I
Oh.
might have a kid.
Oh.
I might have kids. Most all schools.
Wow.
How would you ever go to sleep?
That was on.
Well, that fifth grader knew who you were.
Yeah.
The old guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I might have a kid most all schools.
They have key cafeterias?
No, I can just get into the gyms.
Yeah.
Can't get in.
Man, I'd love to play some basketball.
Well, I might get you invited to the old
He's
man
a,
league.
he's a dribbling master.
No,
No, it's dribbling or.
I'm a frenetic defensive.
What kind of dribbling are you talking about?
Dribbling and.
That's my specialty, frenetic defense.
Yeah.
And that was always my specialty.
Defense, yeah, I can see that.
Oh, the coach, I mean, of course, I mean, when I was in Alaska, it was schools 40% black, I mean, basketball team. The only reason I was there to play defense.
Yeah.
They put me in and say, don't shoot, just go.
Don't shoot.
You know, my responsibility is usually no matter the size of the party they play.
Yeah.
And there were some nights that I just got hammered, you know, out of 6'5", 6'6" guys. But I'd stay in there taking.
Yeah.
And then some nights I'd get lucky and I'd get a guard or a forward, somebody who could actually cover. But
When you got fouled, you have to take one.
yeah, and
They would let you take the foul
well,
shots.
they didn't have a choice, and there we were in Franklin County, and it was a tight game. We were winning, but we needed all the points we could get, and I made the first foul shot, and I airballed the foul line. And the coach, he didn't even let me stay for the inbound. He pulled out, he was, at least hit the rim. And I'm like, coach, I didn't ever do.
Yeah, really. Everybody airballs one at some point. Did the crowd start saying?
Oh, it wore me out. They wore me out.
Airball.
And the bad part was, is I was like a sophomore. So every year I went back, I was like, yeah, I deserved it. It's okay.
What year was that, Tony?
Oh, it must be, oh, that's right.
82?
I was teaching at Douglas Middle School until 79, the end of 79.
I went to Pulaski. Of course, all my friends went to Douglas. I was friends with mainly all the Douglas kids.
But you were at Pulaski Middle School in 79.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, I could have been your teacher. Did you take home ec?
Oh, you taught there too?
I did take home ec when I was in 8th grade.
Yeah.
I sure did.
Who was your teacher?
Mrs. Wiley, her husband was the basketball coach at the high school.
Yeah, yeah.
And she had, there were a bunch of us, we hated the shop teacher, just despised him. He was this little bearded dude, looked like a troll. And he didn't like us either. And so we all, when we were in 8th grade, we said, we'll take it home ec. And one class, she had like 12 guys, and none of us could cook or sew or anything. She loved us.
One of the best classes
I ever had was home ec.
One of the best classes I ever taught was the football team, because they wanted to eat and they wanted to cook, and I had to make ways to make them learn. But they made sweatshirts on the surgery. That was a cute
my sister
thing.
was in there.
So I made them model them in the fashion show.
Oh, there you go. Bragging rights. Oh, yeah.
That was the most assignment. I guess that was a requirement when you were in 8th grade. You had to make an item to wear.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I wouldn't let them make stupid mess
we
like.
couldn't be able to work, so we all made dinner vests.
Oh, nice.
And we were smart. We couldn't really sew buttonholes or buttons,
And then that
so we
was
put top on.
Well, I made my guys learn to do the button stuff
I still got
and the repairs before they made a garment.
They were back in
No, well, you
69
did, but
when I
we-
did mine. That was the first one.
Yeah,
And there was
baby.
like, you know,
We had flower
They
findings.
didn't know what
we
to
had,
do.
we got more trouble. Lord, we cleaned that home ec room. I don't know how many times.
but we did everything.
Well, my 8th grade home ec teacher was Norma Kazoo.
I know Norma
Came
Kazoo.
here.
Mhm.
Is she still living?
I don't think so.
She came here to the NIF Center, right? She's from Christiansburg.
And see, I was in Christiansburg.
You were?
My first job was in Christiansburg. I was an extension agent for 3 years.
Yeah.
One of the funniest things to me
Her
is
son Blaine graduated.
Dr.
from there.
Simcox.
And then
and
Amy,
y'all-
the two daughters live here.
He taught algebra at Pulaski High School my senior year.
Oh, you did?
Dr. Simcox.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
He- He graduated Emory, didn't know what he wanted to do, so he got hired at Pulaski as a math teacher. He taught 1 year, and he told me after I met him, he goes, how did you, because that school was racially divided. I mean, it was, you'd walk down the hall, there'd be blacks on one side, whites on the other, and there was a fight getting ready to start. He goes, I don't know how you survived that.
Well, it was a county high school that was new because they combined Pulaski and Dublin, and they were arch enemies.
Well, see, I was there 10 years after. They combined in 74.
Yeah.
And it was just the racial tension for just, of course, on both sides.
All right.
You laughed.
What did we say to clean up this? All with the faithful.
We were setting a record for y'all, wasn't it?
That always happens.
Yeah, but we're doing very well to be out of here. All right, council, I would entertain a motion going back into regular session.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Phil, roll call.
This is Jerry.
Aye.
Mr. Howard.
Aye.
Mr. Humphries.
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Mayor Ward.
Aye. And now ask our clerk if she will read the appropriate certification phrase for us, please.
I will, as soon as I can find it. Bear with me just 1 second. I had it come up here just a moment ago. Here it is. Whereas the council of the town of Abingdon, Virginia has convened in a closed meeting on the day pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions set forth in the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. And whereas section 2.2-3712D of the Code of Virginia, 1950 as amended, requires a certification by the town council that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. And now therefore be it resolved that the council of the town of Abingdon, Virginia hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from an open meeting requirement by Virginia law were discussed in closed meeting to which this certification resolution applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the council. If you agree, please confirm with I so certify. Ms. Drury?
I so certify.
I so certify.
I so certify.
I so certify.
And I so certify.
Nicely done, folks, nicely done. With real feeling. Okay, let's see, council, we went into executive session to consider the two appointments that we haven't made tonight. One was to the Economic Development Authority and the other was to the Board of Architectural Review. What's your pleasure regarding these appointments?
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we table both the Economic Development Authority appointment and also the Board of Architecture Review appointment pending request for additional applications and advertising of the said positions.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to table these appointments until perhaps our January meeting?
Yes, sir, if that was.
All right, we have a motion and a second to table the appointments until our January meeting pending advertising the availability of these two positions, or specifically the EDA position, which is not been previously advertised, and we would consider it a January meeting. And do we have a second on that?
Yes.
Okay, further discussion? I'll call for the question, please.
Mrs. Drury? Aye. Mr. Howard?
Aye.
Mr. Humphries?
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe?
Aye.
Mayor Moran?
Aye. Thank you very much. And let's see, that concludes the majority of our business this evening. Council, is there anything you wish to report tonight? Mr. Humphries?
Nothing other than hope everyone have Merry Christmas and happy holidays.
Okay. Ms. Lowe?
No, sir.
Mr. Howard?
Yep.
Ms. Drury? Okay, I will ask one other thing. We do have we don't have all the details yet, but Mr. Jackson, are you still with us over there? Look alive. It's a share that you have to I wouldn't blame you if you had. We have Mr. Ed McMahon, not of the one of the Tonight Show, but Mr. Ed McMahon is coming to town in January.
13th?
I'm not sure anymore.
I got an email back from him.
Okay.
And he said that he could do it on the 13th, and he does have a fee, which he said he would send us as well, the information on. And I've got it here. Yes, Monday the 13th.
Mr. McMahon, I don't know how many remember him or whatnot, but he's a gentleman who has had a great influence on planning, or municipal planning in the state of Virginia, really on a national basis. He works for an organization called the Urban Land Institute, and he has done much to promote good, sound design within communities. He wrote a book called Better Design in Virginia. He was at the most recent meeting of the Virginia Municipal League talking about what a successful community looks like, what they're doing, and so forth. I can tell you that he has had a very real impact on the town of Abingdon. And he will be here on the 13th as part of a several-day workshop that I believe is sponsored by the National Park Service and somebody else.
And
Where's it?
DHCD maybe? I think it's the Appalachian Gateway Community. Symposium. Mr. Costello is getting a team together from the town.
Yeah, there will be a group of, I guess, primarily employees and so forth, and staff that would be attending that, but we are exploring the possibility of perhaps having a separate session with Mr. McMahon, one of which we could invite, members of the public, representatives of not only, our boards and committees and so forth that might, attend, and, perhaps folks from the county and, surrounding communities as well. He has an outstanding presentation that he makes, really showing what's working well, what's modern disasters and so forth that are out there. And I can tell you that he has been extremely useful to me on several issues that we've had over in the past, and we'll keep everybody posted on what the plan is and see if that is something that we can make arrangements, because I think he will have a specific, agenda and responsibility for that workshop. But, I was, when we had the Virginia Municipal League meeting, wanted to invite him, thank him first of all for what he'd done and invite him to come to town. And he said, oh, by the way, I'm going to be in Abingdon in January. And it was the first that I'd heard of it. And so he is coming, and we'll keep everybody posted. He is a first-rate gentleman.
So this is January 13th, not December 13th?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, we may be able to organize a separate session, for community leaders and interested members of the public that wouldn't necessarily be able to, or, want to do a 3-day workshop or so that they have planned. So we'll keep everybody posted and perhaps talk about that. Our work session this month is what date?
Wednesday, December the 18th, starting at 6:30.
All right, December the 18th, and
They want to do that at Christmas time.
what's
It's
that?
up to you all, whatever you want to do.
Well, do you want to do one?
I say we give everybody a break and let them Christmas shop for their families.
As long as they shop local.
You bet.
Well, the only thing that I would mention is, and it sounds fine with me, is if there's any pressing matters coming up, and it doesn't sound like that there is. I think that most everything right now is kind of, started toward a completion, and according to Mr. Dew and the other things. So, but if there's anything that might be an agenda item, then we might want to do it. And a pressing agenda item for the next meeting, we might want to do it. But if not, then I agree with the other people that we should shop till we drop.
Or we run out of money, one or the other.
Already done that.
Then why don't we basically plan on not having that meeting, but Mr. Kelly would advise us if it does seem to be prudent?
No. What was that, Mr. Mayor?
It's getting to be an evening. In other words, we wouldn't have that meeting, the mid-month work session, but you would notify us if you saw a pressing need to have it.
Yes, absolutely. There's a couple of things I've mentioned to you all over the course of the last, not only today, but the last week or so. If something develops in that, I will bring it to your attention, and we might have to try to get together.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for the moment, we will plan to not have a mid-month work session. Okay, and I see lots of nods of approval.
Do we need that in the form of a motion?
No, I don't think we need to have a motion to not do something, but that is not one of our legally or officially, it is not a meeting that is required by our charter, if I recall correctly, so I don't think we have to do that. And the regular next council meeting would be January the 6th, 12th night.
One thing I'll mention, that's not listed in your events, Abingdon will be featured on Daytime Tri-Cities, Our Town, this Friday morning at 10, so set your DVRs.
All right, very good.
Is that is that the program they're doing from Barter Theater that they invited the Tourism Advisory Committee to attend in the audience if they wanted to? But I'm sure they would let anybody from the council attend.
They have some
also
stuff
if they
that's
wanted to.
pre-recorded and they do the rest of it.
And I believe Amy from Phil's Pen is going to be on with Tara Taylor tomorrow,
Oh, very good.
covering A Christmas
Trees.
Tree.
Nice piece in Sunday's paper too, about the developments and so forth taking place on Courthouse Hill.
In Midtown.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend that you attend the O Christmas Tree. And in the first room, the main parlor, the best parlor, of course, is the Town United Way tree.
Merchant trees on the second floor.
Go and appreciate that one in that front room. I'm a little bit competitive. I know, Ms. Howard, you can always go upstairs if you must.
All right, council, anything else we wish to discuss tonight? Anything else required? Anybody? Okay, hearing none, I will declare us adjourned. Hope everyone has a Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Okay.